Welcome back, y'all. Tonight we are digging into the world of fashion, one of my favorites. And if you've noticed more Western wear on the clothing racks, you are not alone. Our media partners over at Texas Monthly dedicated an article to this trend. So we've got Mimi Swartz with us, writing all about it, even her own relationship with Western wear. She's joining us right now. Mimi, thank you so much for joining us. You look great, by the way.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So listen, in the article, you write about a trend in Western wear that we're seeing right now. You even bring up a pair of twin sisters from Texas who are really adding their own take on this trend. So talk to me about the other influences that we've seen in this kind of cowboy culture explosion.
Well, I think the main entrance is Taylor Sheridan, which with his show, with Yellowstone and all of the other shows that he's doing have really upped the ante on Western wear. I think there's so many people now who look at clothes on those shows and think, well, I might like that. And I guess I was sort of one of them.
I mean, it's really taken over. And like you said, Taylor Sheridan has us in a chokehold when it comes to his shows. Yeah. It's exploding in culture. Now we've got Beyonce jumping in. She's releasing a country album later this month. And that is pushing forward this Western wear trend. So this is a different story, though, that she's kind of telling through clothing. Can you talk to me about that angle of it?
Yeah, I thought this was fascinating because what she's doing is sort of reclaiming the black cowboys' history and sort of reminding all of us that that's also a part of the American West that people wanted to, that got erased for quite a long time. And I think also if you look at somebody like Lil Nas X, he's doing the same thing, but also to an even broader group, and Beyonce does this too, bringing in LGBTQ people. I mean, I think suddenly Western wear just belongs to everyone, which made me personally feel a lot better.
Yeah, I think it's really opening up the conversation. Like you said, people were so shocked to hear Beyonce dabbling in country, but she is a Texan after all. And we can't forget about Old Town Road. I mean, that was everywhere. So I think you're right about that being part of kind of the pop culture conversation and everyone taking on their own, influence and spin on it. But you have had kind of a, let's say, bumpy relationship with the Western wear. You've got a picture of yourself decked out, hat, boots. This is something I've fallen in love with moving to Texas. So tell me about that relationship with your cowgirl wear that's kind of evolved.
Well, I think for a lot of people growing up in a changing Texas, in a Texas that was becoming more urban, there was a lot more self-consciousness about our roots in the country, and the last thing you wanted to look like was a country person for so many years. And I think, again, that's changed with various movies and, all Texans becoming more secure. But I think as a kid and a teenager, it was like, get that stuff away from me.
So my last question, I want to know, for folks who want to learn more about Western wear, its history, the impact on our culture, where would you tell them to start?
I have a book right here. Here is one thing that was sort of fun. I don't know if it's backwards, fashion fads and fashion fads, which was sort of fun. But you can also just Google. I looked up the history of Western wear. And one of the most interesting people and most influential people, of course, is Ralph Lauren. And if you look on his website, you can see where he talks about how he figured out that Western wear was a whole new genre for him to exploit. And he did. I mean, he made those clothes beautiful.
And I think for so many people who want to explore, now's the time to really do it. But I think there's also a fine line, and I want to get your opinion, a fine line on respecting the culture and its history, and also turning it into a costume. What do you want to say to people about that aspect?
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a very fine line between, what's appropriation, what's a costume, and I think we all have to decide for ourselves what works. That's the only thing I came up with. I'm more comfortable now that in a way it's a fashion statement that means a lot and means sort of nothing at the same time. So you can just go have fun, which is really what fashion's about.
I was going to say, fashion is up to your interpretation. You get to do whatever you want with it. Mimi, we appreciate you joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So listen, you can read the entire article that Mimi wrote on TexasMonthly.com, and you can even check out past discussions with Texas Monthly on CBSNewsTexas.com. We'll be right back.